Hey everybody, we're back.
We're back.
There you go. How long has it been since we did that one?
Some of us back from the dead.
Back from the dead again. I had a whole
That's right.
idea planned for bringing you back because the idea was going to be okay, we'll finish Persona 3 with Chance, and then we'll bring
Uh-huh.
Clim back. So I had this whole
Yep.
idea planned of a satanic ritual. I was going to get Chance involved in it as do this whole thing of get Chance to record a dying scream for me, which I would then
Oh my
morph and
god.
get you to record a scream as well, and then do
Yeah, yeah,
editing
yeah.
trickery so his scream morphs into yours. And I'd just be there with a Latin choir doing the one-winged angel thing, but instead of Sephiroth it'd be Climothy.
Yeah, yeah,
It'd
yeah.
be
Descending
Estas
with my one wing.
ciferis in a verandis, Estas ciferis in a verandis, Climothy!
That's great. I love it. That's awesome.
And now none of that has happened.
It's unfortunate. Terribly unfortunate.
It's the horror
And it's
of...
wild because I only just see us appearing on the stream. That's how delayed it is.
It's different with different streams. There's some of them are super quick. I think
Yeah.
Phazon's delay is very minor, but Amber has a longer delay in her stream. It seems.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, with Phazon it's a little harder to judge because she doesn't have chat display on the screen.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like having the chat on the screen. But that's because I can't see it when I got the emulation full screen.
Yeah. Um. I just should be good. I have the chat on screen for archival purposes and also that. If there's anything going wrong with the stream, the lag, people couldn't see that. So
Yeah,
you remember we had that
yeah.
whole thing with Ali at one point where, chat, the video was super delayed, but get the chat popping up 2 minutes later on the stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that was wild.
Mm. The light just went out. I don't know why. It just turned right back on. It was fine.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, we're back again with our good friend Climothy J. Hazardon. Let's give
Hello.
a shout out for Clim. I'm spelling Clam
Thanks.
Hazard.
Climb hazard.
Oh no, Clam Hazard.
Crime hazard. My evil twin.
Crime Hazard. God, that FF7 playthrough was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. With all the names, I think that was the best part. Uh, Lino, right? Reno was Lino.
Reno was Leno, yeah. Clam Hazard, it'll give you food poisoning. How you doing, Teak?
Yeah. What's going on, Teak?
I like this setup. It's pretty nice. We've got you in the same frame. I've got, like I said before, I think if we're gonna continue doing this for when we do Final Fantasy VI, I should move
Yeah,
my
I would be
camera
into
so
that.
it's in front of me,
Hmm.
to match, and then
Yeah.
commission a mono style portraits for both of us.
That would be cool.
I'm
Maybe I'll
s-
work on that. That would be.
I'm still not sure who we're naming who in FF6. Because
Sure.
it's happening. We're being characters. Everybody's going to be a character in 6. I don't know who's going to be who.
Right. Layout
Okay.
looks sharp. It really does look sharp. It looks good.
Thank you. It'll look better when we don't have the white background. It'll look better in an actual game.
Mm.
But I've been tossing around the idea of I'll be Sellers and you be Terra,
Sure.
or Edgar and Sabin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's which of us would be Edgar, which would be Sabin? It's you be Edgar, of course, because you're the womanizer of the pair of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And I'm the musclehead.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I'm the more dainty womanizer. Yeah,
You use
for
your
sure.
tools, I use my fists.
Yeah, buddy.
It's been minutes and we're already in the sex talk.
Yeah. Well, hey, no, euphemism. Euphemism.
Euphemism.
There's a difference. That's right. You gotta get the you. The you.
You. It sounds like you're doing like a Jewish thing.
Who knows anymore? I can't stick to an accent, so I'm just kind of slip in between all of them at any given time.
It's like my trick with accents is to very much keep it short and sweet, because inevitably it will either go to like an Indian accent or an Australian accent. Regardless of what accent it is, it will end up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just slip back into Jersey.
Jersey.
And I get the hard ooh, do it.
Do it.
And I don't mean to. Like it became such a meme of myself.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, I've made fun of you for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It typically happens when I get mad. Or like excited.
You get mad or excited, like when we talk about Paper Mario.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
So are we going to come back for like because we're going to be doing the critical discussion on Final Fantasy VI. Are we going to come back in like season 2 of the critical discussion? Is going to be Paper Mario?
Paper Mario. I don't know. Maybe. You never know.
Season 2.
You never know what the future might hold. Renoa Hartley said this. Maybe not in so many words, but she said something like it.
FF8's an absolute mess.
It's an absolute mess. Yeah. It's the one Final Fantasy that I've never gone back and played through again.
Mm.
Like, I've even played Final Fantasy VI 3 times. I have not played Final Fantasy VIII twice. I played it once.
I'm supposed to be doing 8 with Signer, and it's his favourite. It's his favourite Final Fantasy. And like I've said before, like, the presentation of 8 is immaculate. It's probably the best of the PS1 trilogy in terms of presentation. Like the way it looks, the way it sounds. Like, it's top notch.
Yeah.
Everything else. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we're talking about the 60 best PlayStation 1 games here, so it's gonna be on the list. But
Unless the list specifies like one game per franchise, you always see like 7, 8, and 9 on these lists.
Okay.
And it's the same with like Resident Evil. Unless any list specifies like one game per franchise, it's always like RE2 is there, RE3 is there, FF7 and 9 are there.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm doing a list like this, like, you can't limit it by franchise because that's not fair. Because then you've got to choose like the best of the, like, say one Final Fantasy. I was like, okay, so which do I think is the best? But then that also has to then justify the placement of that.
Right.
So I wouldn't do that. But I also wouldn't include like ports of anything. It's like, oh, Chrono Trigger's on PlayStation. No, don't include it. FF6 is on PlayStation. Don't include it.
Right.
Yeah. So, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
So, Clim and I are here today to discuss the 60 best PS1 games of all time, which is a list that Clim brought up yesterday. I was like, we were going to start our critical discussion season 1, which is what it's going to be called now, critical discussion season 1.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Climtical discussion. We'll work on the name. But it will be season 1. Will there be a season 2? Who knows? Maybe we'll be like Firefly and like not have a consistent schedule and then get cancelled.
Yeah, basically. That'll be what it is. We gotta pitch the series to, the producers at freaking NBC, right? So wait on that.
Firefly was Fox, I think.
I was just picking one at random.
Yeah, that's fair. ABC. CNN. We'll pitch it to CNN. But Clim can't be with us for a huge amount of time today, and I'm going to be away next week. So I felt like it wasn't worth starting today and then taking a break next week yet. So for this week, we're going to talk about this list that Clim found yesterday, the 60 best PS1 games of all time. And I've set it to full screen for the way it appears on the stream, so you can't see my bookmarks.
Smart.
I mean, none of my visible bookmarks are anything bad.
Well, no, of course not.
Audible, Steam, Spotify, the Persona 4 Golden Nexus mods page. I bought Resident Evil. I got that Resident Evil Humble bundle yesterday, which is like £25, and it's like almost all the RE games on PC.
Nice.
I only needed 3 of them. It was still cheaper. So I got RE2, make RE3, make RE7 on PC, and a 50% off voucher for RE8, which I went and used. So I have RE8 on Steam on PC
awesome.
now.
Yeah.
And looking into the mods for it, it's like, okay, there's a mod there that replaces Rose's head with Chris Redfield. And like not end game Rose, like baby Rose just has Chris Redfield's head. And like I'll play the game again for that. Absolutely wonderful.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I get that. That's funny. That's like old school games where they have the big head code, you know, like GoldenEye, right?
Yeah. You know, Arkham City has one of those.
Does it?
Yeah, yeah.
You have to do a lot for it, though, right?
No, if you pull out the cryptographic sequencer and then like spin the analog sticks a certain way, like the heads and hands just get bigger. Like it's really simple to do.
Yeah. Okay. So noted.
All right, so let's get into the 60 best PlayStation games of all time. I can't see my mouse cursor.
Uh-oh.
There we go. That's probably right. There we go. It's Discord screwing with me. It was doing it earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so bear in mind this says 60 best PS1 games of all time. 60 of my favorite PlayStation games.
Okay, so it's just favorites. Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was based. You know, a lot of these articles like talk about sales and whatever.
Any list like this is always gonna be based on preference. There's no objective way to do this.
Yeah.
Like we'll get to number 1 and we'll probably disagree with what it is, and then disagree with each other on what it should be. It's a big part of the reason why I don't... Like, people ask me every now and then like, what my favourites are, and it's like, I don't do favourites.
Yeah, see, I have the same response, and people are like, how do you not have a favorite? I mean, when it's a game, like, yeah, it's easy for me to say, oh, it's Final Fantasy VII, it's the game I go back to. But, like, oh, what's your favorite band? What's your favorite song? Like, I don't know, it changes. It depends on how I feel that day, so...
Teak has late series Star Trek Voyager queued up in another tab. So we have to compete with that for his...
You guys better be entertaining.
Yeah.
Teak.
Is that okay? I don't think either of us will profess to be able to compete with Jerry Ryan as 7 of 9. I will profess that I could very easily outshine Tom Paris. And possibly Tuvok.
Did you say Tupac?
Tuvok.
Oh. Then I still don't know who any of those people are.
How much Star Trek have you ever watched?
I have watched zero Star Trek, actually. Well, I've seen the Chris Pine movies, but that's about it. And I've watched like an episode of Star Trek, like rerun, like maybe 1 or 2. It was entertaining. I'm not against it. I never cared.
I can understand that. I think I caught Star Trek at an early enough point. Because, like, especially now, I don't watch series. I'm past the point where I care to. It's like, okay, I've been interested in watching Twin Peaks. Cult classic, I'd be interested in watching it. I've never had the option to. If you gave me the ability to now, I probably wouldn't care anymore. Right. Alright, so, back in there. So, Lunar Silver Star Story complete at number 60.
which I can't say anything about because I've never heard of this.
I've played a little. I played it for like 2-3 hours, and it's a game that Teak keeps pestering me to do on stream.
Really?
Yeah, because he redeemed it back when I had the point redemptions for those.
Okay.
Let's see. Best of our PS1 game. What game to start with? Also, one of the best Sega Saturn's games, but the revised edition for PS1 looks and plays a whole lot better, which is surprising because it's a 2D sprite-based RPG. And 2D games had a very notable history of looking and playing better on the Saturn.
Interesting.
RPG with dragons in it, which means it's instantly one of the best PS1 games on the planet.
That's what I just read. That's what made me laugh. That's great.
How many games ahead of this do you think are going to have dragons? I'm gonna I'm gonna be generous and say like maybe 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we have a similar guess.
But no, like what I played of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete was really solid. It began as a Sega CD game.
Okay.
Because people talk about the Sega CD and they talk about the 32X and stuff. Teak has a point there, and I'm not happy about it.
I know. Yeah, I thought about it after I said the number 4.
The 32 people talk about the Sega CD as like not being worth it, and the 32X as not being worth it. And with the 32X, it's true. I've been through the entire 32X library. There's like 3 games of interest. One of them's Knuckles Chaotix, and that's not a good game. But the Sega CD, people tend to say Sonic CD, and if they're kind of niche, they'll say Snatcher. But like the Sega CD had some really good stuff on it. Like the Terminator game on Sega CD is really good. Luna the Silver Star and Luna Eternal Blue are both really solid. There is Snatcher, of course.
Teak says the Spider-Man game is neat.
I think he's talking about the next one that I accidentally scrolled to.
Oh, word.
Yeah, because the Spider-Man game on Sega CD is Amazing Spider-Man vs. Kingpin, which is on like regular Mega Drive, but it has like animated and voice cutscenes on Sega CD. Adventures of Batman and Robin on Sega CD is fascinating because it contains original animation and voice acting made exclusively for the game. And like they never re-released that anywhere else, and like it's the original cast and everything. Yeah, Teek's talking about the Spider-Man Sega CD game, Amazing Spider-Man vs. Kingpin.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Alright, so next up, Spider-Man. Which...
There he is.
Have you ever played this one, Clim?
I haven't.
This was the first 3D Spider-Man game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of shocked to see that it looks that good. And like obviously by today's standards it's not, but looking at that still image, I was pretty impressed by it. Yeah, no, the only Spider-Man game I played was like Super Nintendo or Sega. And Carnage was involved.
Maximum Carnage?
Maybe. Yeah. That sounds right.
With the red cartridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was it.
Now that's a cool gimmick. Like absolutely fantastic gimmick. The red cartridge. It looks really cool.
Yeah. But this I've never played. I've seen you play some games, but those were later.
I have played this. I had this as a kid. I have a full Let's Play of this up on my Let's Play channel. I did start streaming it at one point on the Dreamcast, because like T says, Dreamcast version, which has improved graphics and everything. Like they redid all the character models and the FMVs and everything. But my Dreamcast just kind of died during that, which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think it was the first 3D Spider-Man game, and it's a lot of fun. It's probably one of the best 2D 3D transitions, because like I don't think any other superhero got as smooth a transition to 3D.
Okay.
Like Batman's first 3D game was Batman and Robin, which is absolutely terrible.
Sure.
Superman's was Superman 64. Spawn was in the Demon Hand on PlayStation, which is absolutely garbage.
Yeah, I think I remember playing that very briefly.
X-Men didn't get like a proper 3D game until PS2, GameCube, Xbox with Wolverine's Revenge, which was called X2 Wolverine's Revenge with Hugh Jackman on the cover, but has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. And it's very clearly based on the comics.
Okay, yeah. I think I played that. There's like stealth in that one too, like there's stealth kills in it.
Yeah, it's got Mark Hamill as Wolverine.
Yeah, that's right, yes. And there's a blooper where he holds his fist up and like a spoon.
Yeah, like a cutlery comes out instead of the claws. Yeah.
Yeah, I've played that.
It was an enjoyable game. That one level though where you have to be stealthy, terrible. I hate it. But that was just indicative of gaming at that time. Like this game, absolutely recommend it. Like, grab it for yourself. Play it. It's pretty good. It got a sequel, which was not as good, but it's still on PlayStation.
Gotcha. Teak seems to be a fan. Good mix of the gameplay. I like
Well,
that.
Teak's also a comic book nerd.
Ah.
That Spider-Man game was actually one of my big introductions to Spider-Man. I'd seen the 90s cartoon earlier, but I'd never had the chance to sit down and watch it.
Okay.
So that game was like one of my big introductions to Spider-Man.
Right.
Which means it would have been... It might have been my introduction to Carnage, but it might not have been. Because I do remember Carnage in the 90s series. I remember Venom in the 90s series, so it wasn't my introduction to Venom.
Right.
So, number 58.
58, there it is. Silent Hill.
It's weird to find a list with this, like, so far down.
Yes, I agree. And I've played it, and I don't love it. I've played this and Silent Hill 2. I don't love them. I think they're clunky. I can understand why they are, why they're so loved, because it's a nostalgia thing. Same reason why Resident Evil is so loved, you know? Like, if you go back and play that now, it doesn't control well. I think it controls better than this, but I would still expect this to be higher up.
I do think this controls fairly well. The combat is kind of stiff and clunky, but it's not off. I'd say the combat in this is better than the combat in Resident Evil 1.
Okay.
I think the thing with, like, we talk about the good Silent Hills, like 1, 2, 3 especially. 4 is rough, and we'll leave that aside. I did all of them for stream a couple of years back in October. And, like, of them, Silent Hill 1 is probably one of the weaker ones and one of the ones that's harder to go back. It's worth playing through at least once, and then probably never playing again. I think largely because it doesn't carry, like, the same emotional weight of its story as Silent Hill 2. The environments aren't as visually interesting.
Right.
The whole fog darkness thing was a very well played idea to keep the draw, like, to explain the low draw distance. But especially later on, like early in the streets, it's not so bad because the streets are distinct, have distinctive features even in the fog. Later on, when you're stuck in the other world and the entire world is like metal floor, the flooring is like metal grating.
Right.
At that point, I don't remember the way of anything. I run and I check the map to make sure I'm going in the right direction. Everything at that point blends together. It really does fall apart at the end, in a way that the others don't.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm with Teak. I've never beaten Silent Hill. I've only played it for like an hour or two. Same with Silent Hill 2. But I watched Allie play whatever one she played. I think she played.
She played the first one. I think she did the first one twice, because she got like the bad ending the first time.
Right.
Which was understandable because, like, without knowing what you're after doing, you're never going to get the good ending.
Yeah, yeah, because there was like a vial of red fluid, right? That she had
Yeah,
to find.
and you can't
Yeah.
go back to it after that.
Right. I thought that was the second one, but
I know she was after playing the second one, but didn't have have an actual way to play it.
yeah. Okay.
Um, I think it's still very effective horror. The opening is still like one of my favorite bits in horror games. Like when you run into the alley and like it gets darker and the camera goes askew and there's the build up of the noise in the background, and it's still to me like one of the most effective horror build ups in video games.
Sure.
Like it is so well done.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. It's good.
Like Silent Hill
Got that.
2. Oh, go on.
I was just saying, I'm glad I got that far to see that.
Oh yeah.
I know it's like
Which
5
is
minutes
like
in,
5
but
minutes. Silent Hill 2 is a better game in every way, but like Silent Hill 1, I think very much worth a play. After that, you can decide whether or not it's worth replaying, but I think very much well worth playing. But that scene, like that's the opening bit. Like run down the alley, like what the fuck? This guy crucified on barbed wire.
What's happening?
And then you turn around, it's like, oh no, monsters. And if you get past them, it's like if you get past them, the exit's blocked. You can't leave. And like it's really good use of like impossible geometry kind of thing.
Okay.
Colin McRae Rally.
Yeah, there it is. Rally racing. Let's go. Number 57.
So this is actually the first in a series that is still going.
Oh,
I think the most recent entry is Dirt 4. They dropped the Colin McRae name. They dropped the Colin McRae name a couple of years after he died in a helicopter crash.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like Colin McRae Rally 2.0 when they went on, and it was like Colin McRae Dirt, and Dirt 4 is the most recent, I think. It's on like PS4.
Okay.
It's a solid enough rally game. Go down the screenshot here.
Yeah.
And like it's got the whole thing of like that arrow there is the indicator. Have you ever seen a rally race?
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
Have you ever seen a rally race?
Yeah. So Gran Turismo is a racing game that I liked a lot, and they did have some rally races in that game. So, yeah, you're like whipping around in like off-roady kind of tracks. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, it's the Spiz. I've not played any of the Dirt games. I've not played any of the Colin McRae games past 2.0, which was on PlayStation.
Gotcha.
But like the way it is, like that arrow there is an indicator that pops up when you're navigating. Like rally racers drive with a navigator in the car who will tell them the upcoming turns and like how steep they are and everything, just to compare for them. And like that's the indicator of that, while there's also a voice telling you that while you play, which is kind of neat.
Gotcha. Like in Mega Man 8 with the jump.
Kind of.
Slide.
So there's not too much to say about that. It's a solid enough racing game, but it's a little too simulation for my taste.
Gotcha.
So this says Nightmare Creatures. They're actually talking about Nightmare Creatures 2. As you can see from the box art and the fact that it says Nightmare Creatures 2 there.
Right.
Music by Rob Zombie.
Wow.
Do you think it's the one song people have heard?
Dragula?
Yeah. Did you know that movie's in The Matrix?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, in the club scene.
Yep.
I didn't know that until like my most recent watch of The Matrix.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Yeah, you know where else they use Rob Zombie?
In the Halloween remakes?
Twisted Metal Black, they have Super Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. from the same album as Dragula.
You think Demon Speeding might have been more fitting?
Ooh, maybe.
We're getting off topic from Nightmare Creature. We just talked about Rob Zombie now.
Yes. Let's talk about Nightmare Creatures.
So, I've never played Nightmare Creatures 2. Nightmare Creatures 1 is a fairly solid game. It got some buzz around it when Bloodborne came out, because it's kind of a similar-ish concept. Victorian London, monsters, and it's pretty difficult with a focus on melee combat. But you also have guns for limited shots.
So basically Bloodborne, got it.
Yeah, it's like Victorian London in a horror setting. Hasn't been used that much in video games. But Nightmare Creatures 2, you play as the villain of the first game.
Oh, cool. Adam Crowley.
Yeah. It doesn't look all that appealing, honestly, but like what PS1 game does, just from single screenshots.
Right. It's hard to, like I said before with Spider-Man, like it's hard to look at games from wherever the 90s, right, with now standards 25 years later, you know?
It did get a Dreamcast version. I don't know how much better it looks.
Yeah.
The most interesting tidbit I have about it is Callisto, the company that developed Nightmare Creatures and Nightmare Creatures 2, developed the Fifth Element game.
Ooh, okay.
Based on the hit movie starring Ian Holm.
Right.
Were you thinking then, like, wait, who?
I was just wondering who you were gonna name. I'm like, is he gonna say Mila Jovovich? Is he gonna say Bruce Willis? I'm like, no, okay, nope. I mean, even Gary Oldman.
Yes, the hit 1999 Chris Tucker movie.
Right.
Corbin Dallas.
Corbin, my man, we ain't got no fire. God, that movie is so good.
It's not. Like, it's bad.
No, it's so good. It's so
no,
good.
It's like, bear with me. It's like, it's a bad movie. It's absolutely a mess. Nothing makes sense. Why is anything the way it is? But it's like the Resident Evil 4 of movies. It should be absolutely unwatchable. Because
like,
all
so
these different elements coming together in a way that shouldn't fit, but it does. And it's weirdly, bizarrely entertaining.
Yeah, did you realize what you just did? You said all these different elements coming together.
I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take...
But no, like...
No, I get what you mean.
What you mean. No, it's like pulling me up on that pond, like, very fair. I didn't intend it, but like you were right to do that, Clim.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's the McDonald's. There is Gary Oldman, who of course is known to be a natural element. There is weird rock opera that's not actually rock opera, it's like a weird space rock opera.
Right.
There is Bruce Willis. There is balding Bruce Willis at a point where he still looked kind of cool before he went full bald.
Right.
And of course, the most important one that all these other four elements surround, which of course is the big, bulky aliens that can barely move.
Right.
That movie is fucking ridiculous. It has no right to be as fun as it is.
Mm-hmm. But damn it, it is. Hey, Kira,
Smoke you!
Wrong answer.
I miss... I miss, like, fun sci-fi like that. There's, like, stuff like that, and, like... Demolition Man.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, visions of the future that were ridiculous, but at least visually fun, and not just dystopian. Yeah. Hey, Kira. It is exactly what wants to be in it and sells it. I think it's like the high point of Luc Besson's career. And thankfully he's never tried to do it again. Dino Crisis. So we all know Dino Crisis.
Yes.
I think 55 is reasonable as a spot for this one.
Yeah, as like cult classic as it is, I think that's exactly why it's reasonable. Again, it's a game that I never played, but I've watched Ali play it, so that counts. And I know that there's a lot of puzzles that are like wild in it, so I can understand it's not terribly accessible to some people.
It's also not terribly engaging.
Yeah, it never really did appear that way. Like, I want to play it just because I want to play it, but
again, it's worth viewing as a curiosity of the time. It's interesting. It moves from like everybody was called like Resident Evil Dark Souls, and it's really not. Like, there's so much that separates it from that. The overfocus on puzzles, the way dinosaurs are very different enemies. 3D environments, pre-Code Veronica, which in hindsight was probably a bad idea.
Right.
But it did give us like one of Capcom's best female characters.
True.
And like you can argue Claire or Jill, and it's like I'm absolutely down for Claire and Jill. To a lesser extent, maybe Ada. You could argue Kaede from Onimusha, who I will absolutely stand for, undeniably. But Regina is probably the best female Capcom character.
Yeah, she had a good attitude. Very Ripley, like confident, without being overbearing.
Sarcastic was a good approach. Like never detached.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The cover art, I think that's good cover art. Did you guys didn't get that cover art? That's the European cover art.
Oh, is it?
The US cover art has Regina, I think, on the front.
It might have.
What is the US cover art?
What bothers you about it? The angle of the toe?
I will not stand for that, Teague.
Okay, yeah, it looks like Regina was the cover.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it, and like I think I'm seeing. No, because like, I'm looking at the. I was thinking of Dino Crisis 2, the US cover for Dino Crisis 2. That's just Regina's silhouette. Dino Crisis 1, the US box art, is just like close up of Regina.
Right. Yeah, I like the lettering on it, but I prefer this. I prefer this image. It's much more
ominous.
Ominous. What?
Ominous.
Yes, that is what I said.
That's what I said. I said it before you did.
Yeah.
Stream will show that.
You're right. I'm sorry.
But no, like, Regina is only literally Jill in a red wig in RE3.
Yeah.
Which surprised me when I finally took like a close look at it a few years ago after I started streaming RE3. And like, Regina in the Regina costume is Jill in a Regina outfit. It's not actually Regina's model, which I thought it was for years.
Yeah, I remember you went over that. Like, we were specifically discussing it. That was cool. I don't know about we, I just mean like you and we as a collective.
Yeah. But Dino Crisis, it's a rough game. I don't think it aged very well. It's probably the second best Dino Crisis game.
Okay.
After Dino Crisis 3.
Yeah.
Technically there's 4.
Really?
The third Gun Survivor game, Dino Stalker, which in Japan I think is just called like Gun Survivor Dino Crisis.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's Resident Evil Survivor, Survivor 2 Code Veronica, Dino Stalker, and then Dead Aim. And those are the Survivor games. That's a picture of Dino Crisis 2.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, because it's Dylan and like the pre-rendered backgrounds in the jungle. Dino Crisis
Gotcha.
1 takes place almost entirely within the facility.
Right.
54
Shoot.
Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
Can't say I've played it.
Tenchu Stealth Assassin. Tenchu 1 is a hard sell. Because
Okay.
Silent Hill wasn't the only game that made use of the limited draw distance for the sake of effect. Tenchu does it with darkness.
Okay.
And it has a mechanic, like if we scroll down to a screenshot, that's not helpful. That meter in the bottom left, the round bit in there, will show, like, when you're near an enemy, it'll show a blue question mark with a number, and it'll get bigger and the number will get higher the closer you are to that person.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that gets around the limited draw distance.
Gotcha.
Tenchu 1 is a solid game. I think it's very, very difficult to go back to. I love the Tenchu series. Tenchu 2 is a big improvement. I love Wrath of Heaven. I wish, like, whoever owns it would bring it back. Like I've said before, like my entire interest, I've lost interest in a lot of the Dark Souls idea. My entire interest in Sekiro is because apparently it was originally intended to be a Tenchu game.
Really? Yeah, I can understand that.
Like Tenchu's a lot of fun when it works and when you can do it. Ninja Assassins.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something you'd want to play. Alundra.
So
I've heard this
Alundra,
name.
yeah, Alundra is one of my favorite games. I do very much like Alundra. It was a game I streamed in my first year of streaming.
Okay.
I very much recommend Alundra. I think it's a fantastic game. If you're into like classic Zelda, like Link to the Past style Zelda, you should try Alundra. It is very much in the same vein with a darker, more mature storyline and more of a focus on the storyline. It's harder. Like, it's absolutely harder.
Okay.
It also has platforming that's not very good because platforming from that perspective doesn't work very well.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I absolutely adore Alundra. I think it's a fantastic game. And, like, visually.
Yeah, I want to see some images of it. Okay, yeah.
Visually,
like
it's
that
really
the
good.
character, at least on the cover, looks like Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin. Like with the red hair and the ponytail.
Yeah, they've got game ends. The game has an opening and ending cutscene that's in like full anime style, where almost nothing looks like it is in game.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Like Alundra's hair is not that red. It's like closer to blonde, approaching orange.
Yeah.
Like Alundra's really good. You play as a character who's able to go into dreams, and he travels to a village that's plagued by nightmares that are killing them.
Yikes.
And like the scope of the story expands so much. I first played this as a kid, and like it seems like a standard adventure for the family. It was like, okay, go into the dreams, save everybody, and you can't save everybody. People will die. And it gets dark, and like one of the best things I think it does is nobody is safe. None of the villagers are safe from death. So you can never predict who's going to survive and who isn't. It's not a case of like you can prevent deaths through taking actions and avoid a bad ending. It's like, no, the story is very set.
Yeah, they just sort of get got.
But Alundra, absolutely fantastic game. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, once you mention Link to the Past, I'm in.
So join Clim next week where he'll be streaming Alundra.
Right.
It's not a short game, let me warn you about that. My stream of it, I think, was like 8 or 9 sessions long. The dungeons get devious. Like, they are tricky dungeons. I think probably harder than anything Zelda ever got to.
Yeah. Still, sounds cool.
Oh, it's absolutely worth doing. I've been debating going back and doing it again now that I've got a bigger audience. Bishi Bashi Special.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Which, I don't know if America ever got this.
I've never heard of it.
I only got this on PlayStation Network as a PS1
really?
classic. It's kind of a WarioWare style thing,
Okay.
which does it a disservice because this predates WarioWare. Very fast-paced games that are very ridiculous,
Yeah.
and they are multiplayer. Game is unfamiliar to Teak. There are no games that are unfamiliar to me on the PlayStation.
Yeah, for real.
I say that, but like, how many games are we likely to come across on this list that I'm not going to at least recognize?
It's a fair point. Yeah. I mean, I didn't recognize a couple so far.
But Bishi Bashi Special, with how easy the PlayStation is to emulate these days, if you've got a group of friends around, Bishi Bashi Special is a game that is worth throwing onto a party list. It's fun, it's quick, it's weird enough to really keep people amused. Like, it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't put it higher than Alundra. Grandia.
Grandia. Oh, I say Grandia.
Yeah, but you also say
Legacy
Mario.
was playing this. Say what?
You also say Mario.
Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, Mario.
Mario.
That's Mario.
Yeah, which is funny because I took Italian for three years in high school, 3 semesters in college, and I know A, B, C, D, E, right? I know it's Mario, but for whatever reason, I just can't. Mario. It's Mario.
Well, it's the thing of, like, you pronounce things, you say things the way you're going to do. Like, you'd say Genesis, I would say Mega Drive.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. There's, like, differences. This game was on the Saturn. I believe the Saturn version is considered superior. Friend of the stream, Icy Ambers, actually, has recently been streaming this.
That's what I was going to be saying. Yeah, there it is. The music in that game is wild. It's so good.
I've never actually got around to playing this. I've owned this for years now, and I've never gotten around to playing it.
Yeah. He actually does voices too, and to the point where I almost couldn't tell if it was voice acting in the game or him doing the voices, and I think it's a little bit of both. But you tend to forget that there's voice acting in these older looking games. You know, like it looks like it's done well on PlayStation to the point where it looks like a 3D SNES game, sort of like Chrono Trigger or like Final Fantasy VI. I know it's not 3D, but like that level of quality. It's not like a Metal Gear or a Resident Evil where they're playing with polygons, you know? Yeah, thank you for scrolling to that. It looks crisp to me, you know?
Dragon Quest. The Dragon Quest games on DS have a very similar stack of 2D sprites, 3D backgrounds.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks like it goes well together.
Art direction is a very understated part of what makes games like this still hold up.
What did you say?
Art direction is a very understated part of what makes games like this still hold up.
Yeah. There it is. There's Madden. I think my brother was big into this one. I never really did sports games.
Yeah, I've never been super into sports games. I've owned a Madden game, 2004, on GameCube.
Okay.
Which was the only game where I've ever really been able to say, like, yeah, no, that's clearly David Hayter. Because, like, who does the EA Sports? It's in the game, it's David Hayter. But in Madden 2004, it's like, EA Sports, it's in the game. Madden NFL 2004. And it's like, that's David Hayter.
Okay, that's funny. Don't lie to me. Yeah, Spiz is all about this, apparently.
It's American football. It stops and starts a lot. People get overly enthusiastic about it. It is not better than Alundra.
Ooh.
That's right. I'm saying like we as a collective whole would be a lot better if instead of people getting together to watch the Super Bowl, people got together to play Alundra.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Resident Evil 3 Nemi-chan.
I am surprised to see this
Solo.
here. Number one, I'm surprised to see it here, and I'm surprised to see it before at least Resident Evil 1.
Yes, like it's definitely a better game than RE1.
Right.
Control-wise, RE3 is the best of like the PS1 trilogy. You spend any time with any of the PS1 or Resident Evil games, and you can feel 3 controls best.
Right. Yes. The dodging was crap.
Yes, absolutely. Dodging has gotten me
The dodge
killed.
system was terrible. It
Yeah.
was just awful. The only use of the dodge system is in Mercenaries mode when you're trying to juice money out of the game. With the dogs on the pallet, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That like known money glitch. That's the only time dodging is ever useful. Otherwise, it just never works when you want it to work. But man, that game looks so good.
RE3 is like pre-rendered backgrounds on PS1. They're a thing that I miss. Like there's a very distinctive design to them. RE3 is the best looking of the Capcom set up until Remake. But even then, like the visual design of RE3, I think is better than Remake. Remake's visual design, I feel, gets a little too cluttered at times.
Okay, I get it.
But like, as far as the PlayStation
Collapsing
goes,
buildings and things. At least in the city.
like this, as far as PlayStation goes, like this is some of the best pre-rendered background stuff. The only thing I would say is possibly a competition for it is Final Fantasy IX.
I would agree with this.
Mm.
Yeah, and you say Final Fantasy IX, and it's wild because my brain immediately goes to Lindblom.
Mm.
Which, for whatever reason, like I don't like being there. I don't like that part of the story, like ever.
Mm.
But visually, it's very pleasing.
Yes.
For some reason, I just don't like getting around that place.
It's because it's big, but there's not a whole lot there. So you're just running between screens every time you're there.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Oof.
Know your role.
Would I put this above
I did
RE3?
play this. Say what?
Would I put this above RE3?
Oh, I wouldn't. I played the hell out of it, but I wouldn't put it above.
I played a lot of this. The first game, WWF SmackDown on PlayStation, was my introduction to wrestling.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a recurring thing. Like we do this kind of thing more, and like say I get somebody else in who's done N64 stuff more,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, we'll talk about that, and you'll find like so much of my big loves and interests started in games. It's like why? How did I get into Star Wars? The game.
Oh, really? Huh.
But
yeah, I think I was. Yeah, I was definitely into wrestling before the games, and the games I loved more than this were the N64 games, like WrestleMania, WrestleMania 2000, and No Mercy. No Mercy was the other one.
I've still never gotten into the N64 ones. Because
Yeah,
I had this as a
they
kid.
were-
I didn't have. I had this, and then I didn't have another wrestling game until SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 on PS2.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, but this was a fun one.
It was a lot of fun. Like most of my family would play this, and like we'd do stuff like the Royal Rumble,
Okay.
and like we didn't have a multi-tap, so it was only 2 controllers. So I would.
Right.
It's one of the few experiences like most of the family, including my mum, would get into.
Yeah.
But like just as a game, it was a lot of fun. And it's like peak era wrestling, like late era Attitude Era. Although I'm still not fond of the Undertaker biker thing.
Yeah. No, the
No.
American Badass. No,
Yeah, the
no,
Dead
no.
Man was always a better gimmick.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
One cool thing about this game, though, which I think the first one might have also done, but was like a big deal at the time, is I see like the People's Elbow there, which was the Rock's finishing move.
Yeah.
They actually have the Rock take off his elbow pad in the game and throw it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
like whoa. Elbow pad comes off and he throws it, and then like the rest of the match, that arm doesn't have the elbow pad on it, which is like it's kind of a big deal for PlayStation.
It is kind of a big deal, yeah. Yeah, to happen like in time like that. Your family game is Jeopardy on N64. I love that. That's great.
Stay tuned for when Clim and I eventually play Jeopardy together. And Clim has to win or be eternally embarrassed.
No.
Because he's the Jeopardy guy.
I am the Jeopardy
He
guy,
is the
yeah.
Like, we've ended co-op streams before so Clim can go and watch Jeopardy.
It's true. It's true. We've done this. Yeah. Yeah.
Galarians coming March 2000 to a local retailer. Galarians. Oof. I've not played Galarians, I've seen bits of it. And I think from everything I've seen, it shouldn't be this high up.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at some images of it, because I've never heard of it. So.
Let's take a look at image of it.
Yeah, because they'll have the images down there, won't he?
They'll have
looks
image. Great. That looks terrible.
Oh.
Like, that's an awful picture to use.
Yeah. Teak said it before. He's like, whoever sourced the images for this article did a bad job.
So I'm vaguely aware of Galarians. I know it has a sequel on PS2.
Okay.
It's a survival horror thing. You play as a character with like psychic powers.
Okay.
It's pre-rendered backgrounds. Everything I've seen of it says it is not better than RE3.
Right.
Psychic powers. If Earthbound was edgy. Then looks good.
Apparently you have to use drugs every time you attack somebody.
Oof.
Could you imagine making that game now?
I feel like it's probably like an indie game that does that.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Lisa the Painful RPG?
Say what?
Lisa the Painful RPG?
Never heard of it.
It's an indie game that came out a few years back that has an interesting idea. And drug addiction and withdrawal is a big part of it, but
Really?
withdrawal is entirely your choice. Yeah, because like you can keep taking the drugs and it'll make things easier for you.
Uh-huh.
Or like
Insane.
stop taking the drugs and the withdrawal does make you suffer.
Okay. That's very strange. That's
It's a weird and interesting concept.
Cat?
Hey, friend of the stream, Foxhound Cat.
The famous and well-liked Foxhound Cat.
Okay, so I see Bane is lurking, so he'll be happy about this one.
Oh, being a fan of Colony Wars?
He is. I had Colony Wars as a kid, and I never liked it.
No?
It's weird, because like, it's a space shmup.
It's a space what now?
Shmup. Shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up?
Shmup.
Okay, got it.
Oh, shoot 'em up.
It was being said so quickly.
Oh no, like, that's the abbreviation, shmup.
Oh, I see. I got you.
It's got a first-person mode. It's an interesting game that I didn't like as a kid, but I've been meaning to retry for years now.
Okay.
Seems neat.
Seems interesting, for sure.
I think there are 3 Colony Wars games, all on PlayStation.
Okay. Hey, there he is. This is a game I never cared for.
It's not my favourite of the Spyro games, but I would put it above Spyro 1.
Oh, see, now, I see Spyro and I just assume, I didn't realize it was a separate Spyro. But the entire series is just a series I never cared for. I don't know the differences between the various iterations of the game.
This is Spyro 3.
Okay.
Descent. That's an old school idea. A PC 3D space shooter from like '94, I think. Spyro Year of the Dragon though. Spyro has like an interesting parallel history to Crash. In like the first game is solid enough, but like the sequel massively improves on it. And then by the third game, you can tell they were running out of ideas, so it's loaded with gimmicks.
Okay.
Like Crash 2 is like, I think as far as Crash Bandicoot goes, Crash 2 is like the peak of its platforming. But then Crash 3 comes along and like there's so many levels, like the jet ski levels, the motorbike levels, the biplane levels, swimming levels, and like this way less platforming. And Spyro 3 kind of does a similar thing with like those other characters in the background are other playable characters that you have to play as.
Okay. I got.
I went through Spyro Trilogy a few years back on Vita, and 2 ended up being my favourite out of all of them. I feel like 3 just kind of stretched itself a little thin, and it wasn't as fun, and demanded more mandatory backtracking for less.
And all that being said, you'd still put it above Spyro 1?
Yes. Like I say, Spyro 1 is like the beginning and it's a little rough.
Yeah.
Spyro 3 is built off the success of Spyro 2.
Fair enough. That makes sense. There's Resident Evil.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this above RE1.
RE3?
Yeah. See, I realised when I said it and I was watching it to see if you'd actually correct me. And now I press the button that shocks Clim.
I didn't expect that to hurt so much.
It's kind of the point. Like, I told you we'd start at like 2. I had it at 6 the entire time.
Damn.
But yeah, RE1, influential, very important for gaming history. It is rough as fuck.
Yeah. Pulling out your gun and the enemy's over there, and you're just like,
well,
okay, I'm there.
Resident Evil had auto-aim in the Japanese version. It was removed in the American version.
Oh yeah, that's right. To make it harder, yeah?
Yeah, the reason I've heard of is to prevent, like, rentals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot that was a thing.
quite a few companies seem to do it. Alundra and Luna were both localized by Working Designs, and they're notorious. Like, they do good quality localizations, especially for the time. And they were always localizing very niche things that you would expect would have just stayed in Japan. But they also always upped the difficulty to fight the rental market.
Right.
It's to the point now where, like, almost all the games Working Designs localized have ROM patches for them, like ROM hacks, that are referred to as, like, the unworking designs versions that put the difficulty back to the Japanese original.
It's interesting.
Yeah, which, if like, when I eventually get to Luna Silver Star Story Complete, I'll be playing a version with that hack.
Yeah.
Like, RE1, like, that's RE Survivor, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, the interface is not RE1, the liquor isn't in RE1.
Right. Yep. Just... come on.
Like, RE1, like I say, influential, entertaining, very, very much so.
Yeah.
It's clunky, it's rough, it's ugly. Like, we taught pre-rendered backgrounds on PlayStation, like, RE3 is, like, peak with, like, Final Fantasy 9 and possibly 8. RE1's backgrounds, for the most part, are terrible in the way they look. Mostly the caves. Like, the caves are, like, the worst thing.
Okay, yeah. I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm thinking about the mansion, and that's not too bad. But yeah, you're right.
It's like one of the main things it feels like RE2 did was have like different levels of light in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, like light and shadow and stuff. Well, RE1 very much worth playing. Probably shouldn't be above like, a lot of the other stuff there.
Right.
Crash 3 Warped. Again, I'd put this above Crash 1. Like,
Okay.
for all the complaints I have about it overusing gimmicks, like especially the bike. Absolutely hate the bike. But for all of that, the game itself, I think, is still better than Crash 1.
Fair enough. I haven't played it. I've only played Crash Bandicoot, the first game. It's another series I didn't really love. I liked playing the first one a lot. But I wouldn't, it's like, okay, what else can you give me?
Try Crash 2. It gives you better.
Yeah.
Like, Crash 2 is like a significant step up from Crash 1. Very much worth playing if you enjoyed the first game. That is Crash 3. Tenchu 2 Birth of the Stealth Assassins.
Okay.
Yeah. So, there's a discrepancy on this page. Like, where we're looking right now. Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
Yep.
Saying 40th spot.
It says it's 42.
Yep.
This
Awesome.
is
So, like, and obviously take it with a grain of salt because he said from the very beginning, like, this is his favorite games, right? So this isn't based on anything other than his preference. But I will say that it is a pretty fair ranking so far, other than like a couple of like really situations. This is getting embarrassing, yeah.
That is Tenchu 2.
I find it okay.
What are you saying, Clem?
I was just saying, like, it's difficult to rate games in a pool of games that are completely different from each other. Like Resident Evil and SmackDown are not games you would necessarily compare to each other because they're just completely different games. So I'm kind of factoring that into this list as well.
Well, that's why, like, aside from saying stuff like Alundra should be higher than SmackDown 2, like, for the most part, it's stuff within, like, the same series. Like, RE3 is better than RE1. Spyro 3 is better than Spyro 1. Crash 3 is better than Crash 1. And you know those are going to turn up later.
Sure.
Tenchu 2 is a big improvement over the first game, though. Like, maybe 3?
Yeah, 3 so far.
I
think it was.
Tenchu 2 expands the story. It's a prequel to the first game. It expands the story. There's more of a focus on the story. It has Paul Eiding as the Ninja Master. And of course, we all know who Paul Eiding is, don't we, Clem?
Yep, sure do. I don't know who that is.
Colonel Campbell.
Oh, okay. Got it.
You know, in the Nocturne HD remaster, he voices Lucifer.
Really?
Yeah, it was like... there was an article I was reading about, like, how well I was reading a review about Nocturne HD to see whether or not they'd fixed the performance issues. And they mentioned, like, they didn't want to say who the voice actor of Lucifer was. And I was like, okay. And I played it and gets to, like, the first part where he talks to you. And it's like, that's Paul Eiding. And, like, you know what? I'm down for that. That's an interesting choice. And I'm on board with it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Star Wars Jedi Power Battles.
Okay.
One of the best co-op experiences you can have on PlayStation.
Say what?
One of the best co-op experiences you can have on PlayStation.
Really? Yeah, a couple of my friends were saying that they played this for like hours and hours and hours.
It's probably because it's so goddamn hard.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I played this when I was a kid with my dad. We played it co-op, and like we struggled through the game, but we got to the end, and I don't think we ever beat the final level.
Oh wow.
Not because we couldn't beat Darth Maul, but because you fight Darth Maul and then he runs away like a little bitch, and you gotta do some really difficult platforming. And like getting to Darth Maul was the hardest part of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, 2-player co-op. A lot of fun. There's an improved version of it on Dreamcast.
Okay.
So like, if you're gonna play it these days, go for the Dreamcast version. But if you've got somebody over, you got a girl, you got a lady friend, you want to start macking on. That's an American term, right? Macking on your girl. Take your best gallop to the
I'm
hill.
pretty sure that's the standard.
Yeah, you take your best gallop to make out point and play some Jedi Power Battles with her.
Yeah, buddy. Let's go.
Is that a euphemism? No, there's a TV in the back of the car. We're gonna turn around uncomfortably and just play Jedi Power Battles on PlayStation. But yeah, Jedi Power Battles, a lot of fun if you've got a friend.
Yeah. Cool.
Iron
Hey,
Hunter.
it's that game you mentioned, isn't it?
There's one now?
Isn't this the game you mentioned the other day?
Yes, I think Maki mentioned it, and I was like, I'll fucking fight people. The Iron Hunter is a damn good game.
That's awesome.
It
Is
is
that why I'm
a.
saying yes, Finn? It's why we're both single. Go ahead, Einhander.
It's a shmup. Squaresoft shmup.
Okay.
Like, it
Squaresoft
looks
shmup,
really
okay.
good.
It actually does look really good. Yeah.
Like, it's a 3D visuals, 3D models, 2.5D gameplay, yada yada. Its biggest criticism is that it's short.
Okay.
But I feel like that's generally something you get with all games like this. If you can beat them without getting a game over or dying, they're like an hour and a half long.
Okay.
But like, it's absolutely fantastic. I loved this game as a kid. It was never released in this country. Like
That's
so
such a
many other
shame.
Square games.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you, Video Game Piracy, for allowing me to play this video game.
Yeah, for real.
But like, it's a lot of fun. It's got a unique weapon mechanics thing, where specific enemies will have guns on them, and if you destroy them without destroying the guns, when they explode, you can grab those guns before they fall off the screen and then use them.
Oh, cool.
And like,
That sounds like you know what did that? Horizon Zero Dawn.
I've not played that because I feel like it will take too goddamn long, so it just sits there on my PS4 in my backlog, never to be played.
Yeah, but similar thing. You would shoot off a piece of a robot. You wouldn't have a certain amount of time to get to it, but it was very cool that you can go and get it and use it against said robo monster. So anyway.
So are you taking notes here of like games for future streams?
No, Teak was taking notes about the make-out point in playing Jedi Power Battle.
Oh, I don't mean about that. I mean, like, are you taking notes of like, this could be good for a future stream. This could be good.
Oh, am I taking notes?
Oh yeah.
I thought you were reading Teak saying taking notes.
No, Teak's taking notes on why he's still single, because he's not taking his best gallop to make out points to play Jedi Power Battles.
Right. Okay. Am I taking notes on games I should play? Nah, I wasn't. But I
don't care.
I could start that right now. I could start that right now.
Jumping
Alundra.
Flash. Fascinating game. Definitely worth playing. It's not the 38th game on the list, for fuck's sake. You say 39 right there. It's a first-person 3D platformer that predates Crash Bandicoot and Mario 64. 1995. It's interesting, but like, as you would expect of a 3D platform that came out in 95, it is not what should ever be listed on like the top best games of the system.
Right. Yeah. Right. And we're talking about ahead of like a lot of games that we like a lot.
Mm.
You know, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I never heard of this one.
I had a demo of this as a kid. It was kind of neat. I never had the full game. I got it on PlayStation Network. Slightly higher barrier of entry. Like there it is. Like it's a 3D first-person platformer.
Yeah.
It's interesting and worth a look. That's not a good screenshot, and I think like the resolution's really low on it. Like I see your
Yeah.
face. Like don't judge it by that.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just looking at that little cartoon bunny.
Yeah, you play as a character inside a giant robotic bunny, and that's like the
Right.
character you are, the giant robotic bunny, who can
Right.
jump really high.
Sure. Yeah. Jumping Flash. I would hope so.
It plays better than you'd expect for a game. Like there's the bunny. It plays better than
Yeah.
you would expect for a game from '95.
Okay.
It had a sequel. It was called just Jumping Flash 2.
Very good. I like that sequential numbers.
I've seen this game around. I don't know what it is.
Hey, we got you stumped. I've seen the cover. I've never played it. Looks like Mario 64. Does it?
Looks and plays like a PS2 game.
I don't agree with this.
No.
I can't say if it plays like one. The previous game, I knew what you meant, Spiz. I knew you meant Jumping Flash.
I guess we don't have much to say about this. I'm aware of it. I've never played it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I've seen the cover art somewhere before. Delay on chat. Yeah, I got you, bud. I got you.
The cover art always makes me think of the code locks in Beyond Good and Evil. Recommend that game. Eventually, Ubisoft might release Beyond Good and Evil 2. Bushido Blade.
Bushido Blade.
Number 37
Never
takes
played it.
35th spot.
There it is. Yep.
Yep. Bushido Blade is a fascinating fighting game. There are no health bars.
Yeah.
Killing.
You played this, or maybe M-Dub or Ox has played it.
It's
But I've
possible.
seen it.
I might have done it on stream like once, like for a short
Right.
period.
Right.
It's
Definitely watched
a game that I would like to see done, like nowadays, with a better control scheme. Like the idea itself is fascinating. Like I say, there's no health bars. There are big open environments, and a killing blow is like that's it. It will end the fight. But you can also like cut off limbs and stuff, and you can survive having a limb cut off, but then you've lost a limb. It's like you're weaker for that for various ways. Like you won't be able to block as effectively or attack as well if it's an arm. If it's a leg, you'll be slower and like crawling and stuff.
Right.
Like it's an absolutely fascinating idea. And Bushido Blade 2 dropped that to replace it with standard health bars.
Okay. Interesting. Like a game of chess. Uh-oh, Cat's got her blade out. We're all doomed. Protect your kneecaps.
Ridge Racer Type 4, which this low on the list. Like Ridge Racer Type 4 is one of the best racing games on the PlayStation.
Really?
Like hands down, it is the best arcade racing game on PlayStation.
Okay. I've never played it. I've heard of it.
Ridge Racer is a really solid series. It's a shame that it's
pretty good.
basically dead now. The last Ridge
Okay.
Racer game was on Vita. Like
Gotcha.
until the PlayStation 4, every PlayStation console had launched with a Ridge Racer on it.
Oh.
OG PlayStation had Ridge Racer, PS2 had Ridge Racer 5, PSP had Ridge Racer. PS3 had Ridge Racer 7, and Vita had Ridge Racer. And then PS4 didn't have one. It's, like I say, it's one of the best looking games, best looking, best playing arcade races. If you have like the original box Namco released, it came with a bonus disc that was Ridge Racer 1, with the option of playing it at 60 FPS. Because they did a whole thing with Ridge Racer Type 4, they wanted to see if they could make it look as good as they can while maintaining 60 FPS. And in the end, they made it look so good, but they couldn't maintain 60 for it, so it's capped at 30. So like this bonus disc, play Ridge Racer 1 at 60. And it's kind of neat. This is the first stream of this kind we've done ever, Spiz.
Yeah. Yeah, we were gonna play Final Fantasy VI, but I have other engagements today that I have to attend.
And I'm not going to be here next week, so I thought, rather than start FF6 and do it for like 2 hours and then not do it next week, we'll just wait a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And here's Spider-Man again. I think it's a different Spider-Man.
No, it's the same Spider-Man. There are 2 Spider-Man games on PlayStation. There is Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, which is the sequel to this. Into the 33rd spot.
33rd.
But it's like 35, it's 33rd. It's a different picture.
Right.
Like, we head back up to the top.
Mm-hmm. Was it 58? 59? 59?
There it is, like, Spider-Man.
There it is. Yep.
Like, I didn't want to make fun of this list too much, because, like, it's somebody sharing what they're passionate about, and, like, occasional spelling mistakes and, like, wrong screenshots. Alright, it's a hobby someone's passionate about. Fair enough. This is incompetence.
Yeah.
This is either incompetence or it's just a joke.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I don't know. I was hoping it was just like a mistake and they just used the wrong CD image. But I guess not.
No, it's definitely Spider-Man 1, because Spider-Man 2 changed the Spider-Man model and he has, like, the webs under his arms.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about the plot is like the plot to the first Spider-Man game.
We'll just ignore the 33rd entry.
Alright, so we were going to let you go at 10.
Say what? Oh, 10. Right.
Yeah, we were going to let you go at 10, which is 5 for you. Which is in 20 minutes, and we're less than halfway through the list.
Yeah.
So we better skedaddle.
Let's skedaddle then. Twisted Metal 2, I like this spot for this game.
I've never played any Twisted Metal games.
Okay.
The only vehicular combat game I had on PlayStation was Star Wars Demolition.
Okay. Twisted Metal was good. I enjoyed it. I played it for hours. I thought it was enjoyable.
At no point have you said bless me.
Also 13. Oh, I didn't hear you sneeze. Bless you. I'm seeing you sneeze now. Bless you.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Okay, here we go.
This is worse than Jedi Power Battles.
This is worse than
like,
that?
Undeniably. It was cool at the time because it was kind of the closest to her. It was kind of the closest to a Star Wars RPG we had. Like, you go around, you talk to characters, you have to do, like, appease characters, do trading quests and stuff back and forth. And it was really interesting. As a game, it's shit.
I'm seeing something I'm surprised to see here.
Final Fantasy 8 at 32.
Yeah.
Why are you surprised that it's this low?
Because I can't. Yeah. I'm surprised to see it. I'm surprised to see it. Well, it depends on what you mean by low. I'm surprised to see it at 32. I'd expect it to be a lower number, like a better game. It's hard for me to think of 32 games or 31 games. Hard for me to think of 31 games better than this for the PlayStation.
Like I say, F of 8.
PlayStation Final. Yeah.
Yeah, weakest of the PS1 trilogy, undeniably.
Correct. I would agree with that. The placement below the other two is correct. Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic presentation, everything else is rough. I feel like there are story ideas. Thank you, Spiz. I feel like there are story ideas that just aren't fleshed out like they should be.
Yeah.
Garden is essentially raising child soldiers, which is something they kind of bring up, but then very quickly drop. And there's all these interesting ideas, like the GFs cause long-term memory loss, which is a big part of the reason behind Swell being such a misanthrope, because he lost somebody he cared about when he was younger, and then never got to emotionally deal with that because of the use of the GFs. And it's a good idea that should be delved more into, and it's mostly ignored for the sake of a pretty shit love story.
Right. Which again, I ate up when I was a kid, which is probably also why I'm single now. But I don't know. It worked. It worked for me at the time.
I've enjoyed it, but it's definitely difficult to go back to and not see all of its problems and lament its lost potential.
Yeah. Well, again, it's why I haven't replayed it. So there's a reason for that, and also a reason why it's placed where it is.
Sparrow 2, very solid. I think it's probably the best of the Sparrow games.
Okay.
As a kid, I was more at Crash. As an adult, I'm more at Sparrow of the two. But I've kind of just fallen out of 3D platformers.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I never really played it. It never appealed to me.
Bullshit.
Rebel Assault 2, what did Kat say her favorite?
Yeah, Kat said it was Rebel Assault her favourite.
Rebel Assault 2, here it is.
Which I assume she meant this one, because the first Rebel Assault is... Yeah, she said Rebel Assault 2.
She did say Rebel Assault 2, yeah.
The first Rebel Assault, I think, is a Sega CD game, also on PC.
Okay.
I did a one-off video of it on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
It was not good. Rebel Assault 2 isn't much better. It's an FMV game.
Okay.
The entire world and everything outside of the cockpit is a full motion video that plays, and you have to shoot, sprites or 3D models that are overlaid on top of it, or press the right directions at the right time, or you die.
You die. Okay.
It's not all that interesting or good, and probably shouldn't be this high.
Hey.
29. Parasite Eve.
It should be a lot higher. My God. I mean, that's my personal opinion, but
just based on the soundtrack.
Oh my God! Just based on the soundtrack.
I am a sucker for choir.
Yeah,
I'll tell anybody. Code Veronica. I think Code Veronica probably has the best RE soundtrack, but it also makes very strong use of choir.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Totally agree. Totally agree.
Parasite Eve. One day I will do it on stream, which will end up being the first time I've completed it. Will Clim be there?
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm here.
Will Clim be there? We'll see.
Oh, will Clim be there? I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe. I'll definitely watch.
Xenogears. We never got that in this country. We never got Parasite Eve in this country. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Parasite Eve I knew you didn't get. Xenogears I did not know this.
Xenogears...
I've heard nothing.
I've heard interesting stuff about it. I've heard it's got a really deep and interesting plot, and the second disc is mostly just cutscenes because they ran out of money.
Great.
But it's one of those games of like the golden age of SquareSoft RPGs. Absolutely want to try out.
Yeah, yeah. Because they're still making games, right? Based on Xenogears? Like there's a...
Conceptually, the meta idea, yes. Because there's
Okay.
Xenogears, Xenosaga, and now Xenoblade.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay.
Wipeout.
I assumed they were linked. Yeah, Wipeout 2097. Better than Parasite Eve.
Yeah, I can get on board with it.
I've not heard of this game.
Wipeout is honestly a fantastic futuristic racer. I recommend checking out Wipeout on Mega Collection on PS4.
Okay.
It's a compilation of Wipeout HD, the Fury expansion DLC, and the Vita game Wipeout 2049, I think it is. And it's honestly absolutely fantastic.
Gotcha.
2097, I never had. I played a demo of it,
Okay.
and then I had Wipeout 3.
Looks pretty nice.
It's a good game. Time Crisis.
I like playing this in the arcade.
Only if you have a gun controller.
Right.
I played this in the arcade. Went to the arcade for Santa's birthday. The arcade club, and I played this. Like this was there. I was playing it. I'm absolutely down for Time Crisis.
Yep. Solid game. I don't think it's better than Parasite Eve, but I like this game a lot.
Richard Miller, One Man Army. Fucking love Time Crisis.
And the pedal to duck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was cool. Then we have Klonoa.
No, daughter fancy meal.
Never heard of.
Namco 2.5D platformer. Well, Noah has Pac-Man on his hat.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he sure does. Wow.
I've played a little of it, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like this era of 2.5D platformers where, like, it wasn't just, oh, it's a 2D game with 3D models. Like, no, the camera would move around and, like, the levels would go back and forth and all over the place, and they'd have visual interest to them. Like this, Tomba, Pandemonium. I like that style, even though I don't like Pandemonium. I like the visual style of what they do. They remade this on the Wii. It got a sequel on PS2, and I think they've just recently put out a remake of the first two, or like a remaster compilation, on current gen systems. Clim's favourite game. Every now and then, because like we know Clim's a big Mega Man fan. Every now and then, I'll ask him like, Clim, what is your favourite? Like, who? Like, of all the Mega Men, like Classic, X, Zero, Grey, Vent, Ale, whoever the other one was in ZX and ZX Advent, .exe and Omega Zeus. Like Clim, who's your favourite Mega Man? Clim's always like, come on, Chrono, you know it's Volnut.
Volnut, yeah, Mega Man Volnut. They gave him a last name. Why? He doesn't have a family. He's a robot.
He has his sister Roll.
Yeah, but it's a robot. They're not siblings. They're machines.
Well, at some point it would be interesting to go into like the history of Mega Man. But by the time this game takes place, humanity is extinct and has been for thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's like everybody who's alive is basically like Reploid descendants.
Yeah, so it's whatever. I mean, listen, I had fun playing this game. I thought it was cool. All the different arm attachments you can get and armors and this and that. I remember you don't get a helmet until like the very end of the game, and then by then, I'm like, I don't even want this now.
Well, Clim loves the hair too much. Like you look at Clim right now, he styled his hair after Volnut.
I did. I did.
Like, talking seriously, like, 3D Mega Man game, it's better than it has any right to be.
Yeah. And I did like all the different, like I said, the gun attachments that you could get and the different abilities. Like it would change the color or the speed of your blaster, and that was just really cool. So, I give this game a little bit too little credit. But
And
at
it's
the same
fun.
time,
Like,
yeah, it is fun.
with the exception of Mega Man, like classic Mega Man, the Mega Man games with stories are very serious, overly serious. Mega Man Legends is a lot more comedic in tone. And
Okay. Yeah,
as
fair.
like going through Mega Man, it's a nice breath of fresh air, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm tired of dealing with genocide in Mega Man. Maybe I want to just have fun. There are too many separate Mega Man series that keep talking about genocide.
Right. Yeah. And this one has pirates.
Yes.
So,
The
there's
Bond
that.
family.
The Bond family. Yep.
OG Medal of Honor,
Honor.
produced by Steven Spielberg.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I played Medal of Honor 2. I don't think I ever played this.
Medal of Honor Underground. On PlayStation, it's the second one. You play as a woman in the French Resistance.
Oh.
I think that's an interesting idea. Like, it's especially from like World War II shooters going forward, playing as a woman in the French Resistance. Like, it's such a standout concept in World War II shooters. And then Medal of Honor became a laughingstock, and EA drops it for Battlefield.
Right.
22.
22?
It's like, okay, Final Fantasy IX. Let's get through this quickly. Final Fantasy IX isn't perfect, but it is a damn good game.
Yeah.
I've heard people complain about the visual style of it. I don't think that's a problem. I think like get into the idea of the storybook aesthetic, and it's fine. And at no point does it ever take itself too lightheartedly. Like, it's not as dark as 7, but it gets dark.
Ew.
Like, it absolutely does.
It gets dark.
Again,
Yeah.
genocide.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, FF9 is absolutely fantastic, and I want to know what's next on the list so we can both just agree that it's not as good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I've never finished this game.
Soul Reaver. I like Soul Reaver. It is not aged well.
Right.
And I think even at the time, as much as I love the Legacy of Kain series, it's not as good as Final Fantasy IX.
Right. Yeah. Certainly not Soul Reaver 1. Soul Reaver 2 is more accessible because visually you can tell the difference between different things, but like in the underworld,
Because it's not a PS1 game.
Reaver 1, what's that?
Because it's not a PS1 game.
Soul Reaver 2 isn't?
No, it's a PS2 game. Like, that's why you can tell the
my bad.
difference between things.
Okay. Gotcha. I forgot. Well, in any case, I would get lost in Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver is, I think, possibly the first example of a 3D Metroidvania.
Okay.
Like, you think about it, you start the game out, you go somewhere, it's like, okay, I can't go here, I can't get into the old Citadel.
True.
So you end up following the path until you get Micaiah, and you kill Melchiah and take his power, and that allows you to get into the Citadel, where you get the Soul Reaver, which allows you to unlock a new area. It's the idea of a Metroidvania.
True. Yeah.
Is Parappa the Rapper better than Final Fantasy IX?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna agree. I was never able to complete Parappa the Rapper. I never understood the timing of it.
I just, but again, and like this goes back to the original statement of the person writing this article is
Wrong.
It's their preference, and if they're not into RPGs, well,
Then
sure,
why is Final Fantasy IX as high as it is?
Right.
Where is Final Fantasy VII?
It's not on the list
Yet. But no, Parappa the Rapper, it's fun. Jamalami is the better game.
Okay.
It's the same idea, set in the same universe. Jamalami is more about rock than rap. But if you complete the game, you unlock Parappa the Rapper, and they redo all the tracks from the game in a hip-hop style.
Okay.
It's a big part of the reason why people consider Parappa the Rapper 2 to be disappointing. Not compared to Parappa the Rapper, but compared to Jamalami.
Interesting.
Street Fighter Alpha 3. Yeah, it's probably like the best Street Fighter on PlayStation.
Okay. I don't think I've played it. I was never big on Street Fighter, though. I was never good at it.
I've
so I
never been
liked
big
it.
on Street Fighter. I would love to get into Third Strike. I've not gotten into Third Strike. Looks fantastic. Well, like the sprites.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. Oh, it's always been a good-looking game, Street Fighter. I was always not good at it.
I think like the peak of the 2D animation was Third Strike, though.
Okay. Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross wasn't
I was
released
just
over
watching. Okay. I was just watching that Romo dude play this, and it looks interesting. It looks complicated, but it looked interesting.
here. I want to get around to this. I've been after doing Chrono Trigger on stream, so I can get to this
Yeah.
because I've never played it.
Yeah.
Driver 1? Fuck no. Not this hard. Absolutely not.
No.
No. Driver 2 is a better game than this, undeniably.
Okay. Gotcha. I've never played it.
It's an early open world game, and it does well for that. It's fun, it's rough, and it's very difficult. Driver 2, I think, improves on it a lot. Much more fun to play.
Yeah.
There's Medal of Honor on the ground,
Oh,
and you play as a
there you go.
French
There
woman
it
in
is.
the Resistance.
Got it. Now I'm remembering, I think when I played Medal of Honor 2, that was another PS2 game. They sort of blend together for me, so I apologize for that.
No, it's understandable. Like, just World War II shooters in general, just like modern military shooters, they all blur together.
True. Yeah, yeah.
But like, I think the idea of this is really neat. Specifically, like French Resistance, woman.
Right. Yeah, no, that's cool.
You know what? I'm
Hey.
surprised it took this long to get to a Tomb Raider.
It's a fair point.
I'm
I
down
never
with
really
Tomb
cared.
Raider. I think the 3 worth playing on PlayStation are 1, 2, and 4.
Okay. Yeah. I
Don't
was
look
never
too
good
closely at Lara's chest there because, like, it doesn't look. Like, it looks like the arm she's got up is like pushing her other breast out of the way because it's the only reason it should be
Yeah.
pointing that direction.
Right.
It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Right. I don't know.
Like, Tomb Raider 2 is an improvement over OG Tomb Raider, and if you were into that, it's definitely something you'd enjoy. And I've said before, I think Tomb Raider is the logical 3D continuation of the old cinematic platformer style, like Flashback, or the original Prince of Persia, or stuff like Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. I think Tomb Raider, like classic Tomb Raider, is exactly what those games would be in 3D.
Yeah.
Legend of Dragoon. Better than
Heard
Final
good
Fantasy
things. I
9?
never played it. I don't know. I can't say.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about it for personal reasons. But what I played of it was fine.
All right.
Yeah. RE2.
RE2.
Yeah. I think on the whole it's the best RE game on PlayStation. As much as I'll prefer 3 at times, I also think like 2, if somebody wants to get into classic Resident Evil, people will often say remake. I think remake could be a little too hard. I think the most balanced Resident Evil of the classics is 2. You want to start with the classic Resident Evil, start with 2.
Interesting. Okay.
Crash Team Racing. Never did it for me.
I don't. That did it for you?
It never did it for me.
Oh, never did it.
Yeah, I was never into it. I had fun playing it with a friend, but like I just never enjoyed
honestly,
playing it alone.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I'd
honestly
play
never
Mario
played
Kart a lot on my own, but Mario Kart only had like Grand Prix. This had like an adventure mode, but I was never into it.
Yeah.
Is Siphon Filter better than Final Fantasy 9?
I've watched somebody play Siphon Filter when it came out back in the day. It looked interesting. I never really cared for it.
I've done a little of it on stream, and I like a lot of the ideas. it's aged poorly, I think.
Yeah.
But with like time and patience, you could get through it in like the modern era.
Yeah.
Is it worth doing? Not unless you've got nostalgia or like a deep interest in PS1 games.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not in for that.
Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey.
I played a demo of this, and I didn't get it. I didn't know how to do anything.
I had the demo. I liked it. When I finally got to play the full game, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, like it gets too hard. The checkpoints are too few and far between for it. You die in single hits, so the checkpoints need to be better.
Right.
Bane's quite into the Oddworld series, and New and Tasty, the remake of this, he says like massively improves a lot of it. So that might be worth looking at some point, but I'm in no hurry for it. Gran Turismo 2.
I liked this game a lot. I liked it a lot. I liked the simulation part of it and souping up my car and this and that. So I get it, but
Is it better than Final Fantasy 9?
10 game. Yeah, no.
Like Gran Turismo 2 is one of the best looking games on PlayStation, undeniably.
Yeah.
But I've never been into simulators. I've never been into driving simulators.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
I'm gonna disagree with Spyro. Like I say, Spyro 2 is a better game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never played the Spyro games, so I'm just gonna take your word on it. And I think that we can at least agree on that, where like some of the games, they might not be in the right spot overall, but like at least At least Resident Evil, like Resident Evil 2 was above 1 and 3, you know?
Yeah. I think a good way to compare Spyro 1 and Spyro 2 is like Mario 1 to Mario 3. Like, Mario 1's still a fine game, but 3 is so much of an improvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot, same again. Like, Crash 2 is a much better game.
Right. I think these are just up here because they're like the PlayStation games.
It's probably nostalgia. It also says the spinning, crashing Bandicoot.
Yep. Number 6.
Tekken 3 at number 6. It's surprising to see this below top 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because, like, let's be fair, Tekken 3 still holds up.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean a lot of these Tekken games, these like Virtua Fighter, Tekken, like the polygons, they don't look that bad to begin with. So.
Oh, visually it's age, but like gameplay wise, it's still absolutely fantastic.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
There it is.
Is it better than Final Fantasy 9?
No, absolutely not.
Clim has spoken.
I'm just gonna say that straight up. It's not a better game. It's a fun game. I enjoyed this game.
It's a fantastic game.
This is a game you play for like an hour and then you put it away, and then you're done with it.
Yeah, I never did like overly long sessions of Pro Skater 2.
Yeah. Ugh.
Okay, so there are 4 spots left. Based on what we've had so far, Final Fantasy 7 has to be there. Symphony of the Night. What are the other 2? Metal Gear Solid.
There you go.
So what's the 4th one?
It's a good question.
Dave Mirra BMX.
Dave Mirra BMX, that's it. Spiz got it.
The Dave Mirra was an interesting thing because I think he had there were 3 Dave Mirra BMX games. The 3rd one, Dave Mirra sued to have his name removed off it because Acclaim, the company that was publishing it, had this wonderful idea to increase sales. What if the bikers were topless women? And that became BMX XXX. Which I think Sony refused to classify it, so it's not available on PlayStation 2.
right.
Like, if you ever
Also,
see
the music
BMX
video for...
Triple X, that's what it is.
Gotcha. It's also Queen's music video idea for Bicycle Race.
There you go. Symphony of the Night's
Hey,
number
there it
4.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both done Symphony of the Night on stream.
Yes.
Some of us faster than others.
Hey. True.
But like Symphony of the Night, absolute classic.
Yeah.
Really kicked off the Metroidvania idea. It wasn't
Yeah.
the first, but it kicked the idea into like popular mindset.
Right. Yeah, good game. Love it.
Number 3.
There's my boy. At number 3.
So that leaves Metal Gear Solid and what else?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to throw this out to chat really quick, like,
Yeah.
because like it's not Resident Evil, it's not Silent Hill,
Right.
it's not any of the other Final Fantasies, it's not Chrono Cross.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Eh.
So like I know you didn't review the list. I didn't really go through it like one by one, but I did look at the top 10. So I know what comes next.
You know what it is.
Yeah. So, ooh, I'll keep my mouth shut. Dave Mirra had a great soundtrack. That was my game in high school. Cool.
Vagrant Story. Oof.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, this list made me obtain this game. Because I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I'm interested to see why this would place above Final Fantasy VII. I'm very curious.
You know what's
It's been mentioned.
You know what's interesting?
Tell me.
Valkyrie Profile's not on this list,
Correct.
but Jumping Flash is on this list.
It does beg the question, like, how do you play like, I never heard of Valkyrie Profile. Hell, I never heard of Vagrant Story until you guys mentioned it, right? And so to see a lot of the games I saw, I was like, how does this get on the list? And so I got down to here, I'm like, oh, Vagrant Story, I know Mecha has mentioned this before. So like I went and I obtained it. I said, you know what, while I'm obtaining this, I'm saying obtaining specifically.
While I illegally downloaded this from a ROM site.
I also got Valkyrie Profile. I have not started Vagrant Story for whatever reason, but I'm very interested to see what is very appealing about this game.
I've dabbled a little in Vagrant Story, I haven't actually done much of it. The main reason it caught my interest years ago is because it was, I think, the second game Famitsu ever gave a perfect score on.
Yeah, which I never knew what that magazine was.
Japanese video game magazine, they have 4 reviewers. Each reviewer gives it a score out of 10. So for it to have a perfect score, all 4 reviewers have to give it a 10. The first game to do that was Ocarina of Time. The second game to do that was Vagrant Story. I think the third was Soul Calibur on Dreamcast.
Oh, wow.
It used to be a rare occurrence. Like, we got to, like, 2010, and there were, like, 10 games that had gotten that. But now there are, like, way more.
Yeah.
It's like the whole prestige of that has, like, really fallen.
Right. It's sort of like the Hall of Fame in any sport. It's like, you know, you're looking at 100 years of sports now. Like, of course, the Hall of Fame is going to be filled with people that are just kind of doing stuff.
Let's not get into the Hall of Fame for WWE. Joke that is. But, like, Vagrant Story, like, it's difficult. It's renowned for its difficulty, but if you can get into it, it's supposed to be really deep and rewarding. It's also visually absolutely stunning for PlayStation.
Yeah, I wish they had a better screenshot for this.
Yeah, but, like, look at that art. Look at that.
Yeah, look at it.
That's beautiful. That's a man.
It's bootyful.
And Metal Gear Solid.
And then, there it is.
Maybe I've played Metal Gear Solid too much, but I would not call Metal Gear Solid the best PlayStation game.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I really wouldn't either. And, like, I mean, yeah, it's good, and, like, the voice acting is great, and the visuals are impressive for the time. The codec, you know, the images in the codec, they're really neat.
The scope of the story, seriousness that it brought.
it plays great. Like I'm playing it with a buddy of mine now, and I just played it a couple months ago on stream. Like it controls well, it plays well. I don't know. It doesn't exude number one energy to me, but I get it. I get why it would to somebody.
I think it has too many flaws, like especially so much wasted time backtracking.
Fair
Like
enough.
you get to the communications tower, and Meryl gets shot. Backtrack, get the sniper rifle, come back, and then you do that fight, and then immediately you get sent back to the first floor basement of the tank hangar.
Yeah.
And then okay, so you got to go back again immediately after.
Right.
And then like the backtracking for the PAL key, not the PAL key, the PAL key.
Right. The PAL key.
Yeah.
Step 2, freeze the key. Know a lot of people that would get PlayStation just for Metal Gear. I get that. I get it. Again, like I said, I get it, and it should be a top 5 PlayStation game. Like period. It should be.
But should it be number one?
But should it be number 1? Is right. It's a good question.
You know what I just thought?
Tell me.
There's no Suikoden on this list.
You have mentioned Suikoden. You have mentioned this. Yes.
There's no Suikoden.
Well, they had to make room for Jumping Flash.
Like it's kind of weird, honestly. Like Suikoden 2 especially is often regarded as like one of the best RPGs ever. ProJared did a video.
You got the shirt on.
ProJared did a video a few years ago that was pretty good. Like the top 10 non-Square Enix JRPGs.
Okay.
And like Skies of Arcadia was number 2. Suikoden 2 was number 1.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's all the PlayStation games. So you know what that means.
Yep, that's all of them. Those are the only ones that matter. Hey, PS2.
PS2 games.
I see Dark Cloud.
I see Silent Hill 2. Should we just skip straight to number 1 and see what it is?
Yeah, why not? What's my guess? What's my best? Oh, you know what? I know what it is.
Is it Metal Gear Solid 3?
It might be.
It is absolutely Metal Gear. And it's Snake Eater. No. Subsistence was the better version of it.
Was it? Why?
It had the free roam camera. Snake Eater still had like the classic top-down camera, which meant you were stopping every other step to look around to make sure there was nobody around you.
Gotcha.
Shadow of Colossus, I've always felt that's kind of overrated. Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Still not gotten into Ratchet and Clank. Jack and Daxter.
Yeah, I never did either. Jack was up there too, yeah.
God of War
God of
2.
War was up pretty high.
Ico.
I hadn't heard of it.
Dark Cloud 2. 8. Virtua Fighter 4. And God of War 1. Number 10.
That game is like frustratingly hard. Like once you get into Hades and you have to climb out of Hades and those spinning spike things, that alone would make this so much lower on the list for me.
I've never done the first God of War.
Well,
I've done 2 and 3 in Chains of Olympus.
Watch out for Hades. 3 was great.
I enjoyed 3.
That was PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy it again on PS4.
Nah.
And like Dad of Boy. Dad of Boy was good.
Yes, Dad of Boy. Dad of Boy is an excellent game. Like just out of this world good. So good. Yeah.
Out there's and I feel like it falls into the Sony trap of like stuff like The Last of Us and everything. Of like it has a similar feel in a lot of the ideas it's doing. The thing that really makes it stand out for me is the axe.
Yeah.
Like once you get comfortable with that combat, it's like okay, throw the axe, immediately summon it back as soon as it hits, and move on to another target. And like the combat in that game is understated. Like it's so undervalued in just how cool and hard hitting it is compared to the combat of the older games. Yeah, that's actually a fair point, Spiz. Top 10 games, none of them are Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Vice City alone, right?
Yeah.
I think Bully is somewhere on this list, though.
Probably. I like Bully. Bully, I've said before, like Bully was the last Rockstar game I enjoyed.
Okay.
Because like, I finished Red Dead, I wouldn't say I enjoyed Red Dead. And I've not played GTA 5. I never finished 4. I've not picked up Red Dead 2 because I don't care.
Right.
Grand Theft Auto was a PlayStation exclusive until after Vice City, at which point Xbox got a double pack of 3 in Vice City with improved graphics, load times, and the option for custom soundtracks. Like, if you're able to, the best version of GTA 3 and Vice City to play is the original Xbox versions. Red Dead 2 might be good, but from everything I've seen about it, it looks like it has the problem I have with a lot of open world games of just spending so much time doing nothing. Wasting your time, travelling across the map, doing nothing. And it's a big part of the reason why I'm so down on open world games.
I get that.
You get limited enough time as it is to play video games. I'd rather play one that wastes my time far less.
Right.
But that is pretty much going to do it for us this week. I want to thank Clim.
That was fun, though.
Yeah, it was good stuff. We had some good discussion.
Sure.
I want to thank Clim for joining me on this discussion for the first session of the Mecha-Clim cast.
Mecha-Clim cast.
It's a name Rebel kept saying, and it's like, it's not a bad name. And
It's really not.
I couldn't think of a better name.
Thanks for shouting me out. Yeah, no, that was good.
Yeah, check out Clim. He's going to be playing, what did we say you were going to be playing next week? He's going to be playing Alundra next week.
Yeah, Alundra, right.
He's going to play Alundra, and he's going to play Vagrant Story and Valkyrie Profile. He's going to play all the games next week.
Right. Yeah, Alundra, Grandia, Colony Wars, Einhander.
I'd be down for Einhander. Like, Einhander's like a single stream game. Like, I'd be down to watch Einhander.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Don't do that next week, because I won't be here to watch you.
Got it.
Yes, don't do Einhander when I can't watch it, because I'd be down to watch Einhander. But yeah, check Clim out. Clim plays video games sometimes.
I appreciate it.
Occasionally he's good at them.
Yeah, occasionally.
Occasionally. I mean, you beat Super Metroid faster than I did, so...
I did. I beat it in 3 hours and 4 minutes, according to the game. In a 4-hour stream. Figure that one out.
It's like I said last night, like, I'll do Metroid Fusion, and the stream will be like 2.5 hours, the timer will say I've done it in an hour 14.
Right, yeah, that's right. So, whatever.
I'm not sure when we'll be back. Hopefully aim for tomorrow. I'm due to start Onimusha HD, and continue Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we finished RE8. I don't remember if you were here for the end of that, Clim.
I was.
Were you?
Yeah.
Because I had...
Yeah, we talked about the ending. The ending being the same as Leon's story in RE6.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had...
I don't remember.
I've played RE6 more times than a lot of people have played RE6. And by that, I mean I've played RE6 4 times.
Yeah, I've only played it through once.
I need to figure out who I'm going to get to play it with me for the stream. Because like, I still want to do the idea of a different partner for each campaign.
Yeah, that would be cool.
if I'm gonna do it on PlayStation with anybody though, I'll have to like get another PlayStation Plus subscription. Did they stop doing the monthly ones? I think I heard they stopped doing monthly.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember them doing monthly, but yeah, it's a yearly thing now. It's like, and they have 3 different tiers. They have like the PlayStation Plus Basic, and then PlayStation Plus Express, and PlayStation Plus Premium or something.
Yeah.
And each one is more money. I let mine expire.
Yeah, mine expires this month or last month, and it's like I got a PC now. I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
I've got RE6 on PC. I've had it for years.
That's good.
I'll find somebody. I'll buy it for people. It'll be cheaper for me to buy 4 people a copy of RE6 than it will be to
You're
get
not
PlayStation
wrong.
Plus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, hopefully it's going to cool down quite a bit over the coming week, and I'll be back to streaming.
Yeah.
That should be hopefully nice. The next non-RPG was going to be Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones, but I decided to throw it out to the chat and let them pick a game from the list of upcoming non-RPGs. And I think Ninja won that, so it's Onimusha HD that we're doing next.
Cool.
Which I think I'm going to be doing with Japanese voice acting.
Okay.
There's one cutscene that's censored if you do it in English. It's when the woman births a fly monster out of her vagina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I streamed Onimusha. I don't remember getting censored.
You don't see that as much of that cutscene if you've got it in English.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
It's a lot more explicit where the thing's coming from in Japanese.
I got it.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So like, Onimusha should be like a 1 to 2 session stream.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Although Onimusha, it's a little tricky. It's the easiest Onimusha to get yourself locked into a dead game with, I think. If you just don't have enough healing items and shit. And like, healing souls don't drop as regularly as like Onimusha 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
So, like, well, I have to watch out for that. We did have the option, though, of like... Because I was like, okay, I've got Onimusha HD on Switch. I'll probably do it on there. And then Kira bought it me on PC, so I could do it on PC. And it's like, by doing that, he has thus decided that we cannot do the Xbox version of Onimusha, Genma Onimusha, which is also harder than Onimusha Warlords. Right here in my hand. So we're not doing the harder version.
Right. Wise choice.
But yeah, I look forward to that. Skies of Arcadia should hopefully return this week. I want to get that finished and then start doing other RPGs. So we've got some good RPGs on the list.
Yeah.
I put Etrian Odyssey Untold on there. Like, do that with Citra. It's like, you ever played any of the Etrian Odysseys?
Nope.
No, it's a first-person dungeon crawler, but the gimmick is you draw the map as you explore. It's very satisfying. I like it. And like various other things. Because Chance is still currently MIA, I've changed the 200 follower goal to Breath of Fire 1 and 2, rather than Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2, because I do want to do those with Chance. And I don't want to hit 200 and like say, okay, we're not doing this until Chance gets here. It's like I've switched, so we'll do Breath of Fire 1 and 2 when we hit 200.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's going to be it. Clim, do you have anything you want to say before we go?
No, thanks for having me. This was fun. Nice little prelude into what we'll do when we get to Final Fantasy VI. Little
Critical discussion, Season 1.
I'm looking forward to it.
Clim hates Final Fantasy VI. We're going to find out why.
Yeah.
Is Kefka the best Final Fantasy villain? Come and find out.
Nope.
Is the best Final Fantasy villain actually Shantoto?
Actually, who?
Shantoto?
Who's that?
She's the FF11 representative in all the crossover stuff.
Oh my god. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
I wanna take you for a ride.